I'm Sam.
And I'm Adam.
And you are listening to the PMMetalGuide podcast. This week, we are embarking on an epic 4-month, with occasional breaks, journey to talk about the entire Opeth discography.
Whoa.
And something we like to call the Opethyssy, which is a horrific name, but, you know.
Here we are.
Today,
we'll take suggestions in the comments.
Yeah, right. Comments below. Today, we're going to be just talking about our general impressions of Opeth, what we like about him, what we don't like about him, what we know about him, and then giving sort of an initial take on their discography in list-based form. And then each week after this, we're going to be deep listening, diving into all their records in release order. And at the very end of it, we're going to look back on their discography with enlightened minds and give you our thoughts yet again.
Yeah, it's exciting. Especially since at least I haven't listened to all the Opeth albums. All of them. I have not.
I mean, to be fair, they do have like 14 albums.
They do. They have a lot of music.
But as prog heads and metal fans and people born like fairly recently, we owe it to ourselves to give them a deep dive.
Hell yeah.
But before that, what have you been listening to this week, Adam?
Whoa. Good transition.
Thank you.
Well, I've been listening to a few things. I've been listening to mostly new stuff, touching a few old stuff. This will kind of go into the news sector a little bit, but like I was kind of jamming some Beach Boys earlier this week because of the death of one Phil Spector that we will discuss it. I'm sure at some point.
Oh yeah, Phil Spector died.
Yeah, we should probably talk about that during our news segment. But yes, I've been listening to it.
Wasn't he like? Yeah, no, he was a murderer, right? He was convicted murderer.
Yes, but he's also an absolutely sound-defining engineer. So
true.
That's all that wrote. Anyway, next one.
I hate the Beach Boys. Too boomery for me.
I don't know. I think that it's got its charm.
Fair.
But what I've been listening to this week, we both have been grinding that Anna Pest record.
It's pretty fun.
It's very fun. I
will say, you were totally wrong with their genre description last week.
Dude, I don't know. It's like tech deathcore with like, I don't know. It's strange. It's a strange record.
I described it as tech deathcore with like influence from a bunch of stuff.
It's got a lot in it. An interesting record to check out for sure.
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good January release, which is funny because January sucks.
I don't know. I think there's quite a few good releases this month, actually, including.
Oh my god! Wait, it's the 20th. Oh my god.
I know, it's almost done.
How is it?
No, literally.
I've just been working too much, and time flies when
time
you're
is
wage
flying.
slave.
But Senpai 3 by C2I.
By C2I. That was scarily in sync.
A couple weeks ago, and I only really started to grind on it this week, and I don't know, man. Like, if you like this music, like if you like Pliny, if you like C2I, if you like any intervals, any of that,
David Maximici,
you'll go bananas for this project.
Oh yeah, this record's super fun. It's super well written. Like, what I really like about C2I in particular is his music feels like actual music.
Yes.
Because with a band like Pliny, like, no hate for our Australian boy, but oh my god, it sometimes just sort of feels like he's really talented at guitar and he's just masturbating for like 40 minutes. And with C2I, obviously he's a super talented guitarist and producer, but there are verses, there are hooks, there are great lines throughout.
Super memorable melodies on this project.
Oh yeah, totally. Like, I still think of some of the amazing like choruses on like Andromeda or whatever, and like yeah, I don't know. It's really good instrumental music. Highly recommend.
It's the post-gen instrumental that you either love it or you hate it. But I mean, honestly, like, for someone that, or at least I don't listen to too much of this, but I really enjoy the new C2I. It's pretty high on my list so far this year.
And
already.
it's anime themed.
It's anime themed. Even though there's a surprising lack of anime clips in the album itself. Hokago Grind Time had more anime clips than the C2I record. I don't know if that's acceptable.
That's we got to make a Moe core album.
Dude, it's a blooming genre.
Honestly.
But what about you, Sam? What else is on the radar of listening?
Well, if you couldn't tell, I've been doing a lot of driving this week, and when I drive, I listen to one thing, and that's prog. That's kind of heavy, and I enjoy.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
So I've been jamming a bunch of Meshuggah, a bunch of Gojira, a bunch of the Opeth, which sort of prompted this, and a little bit of Leprous, just, all the giants that make very comforting music for me. And also this week, Gojira announced a new Neural DSP plugin. For those who don't know, Neural DSP is sort of like at the forefront of virtual guitar software. They make like amps that you can get on your computer. And the new one they did from Gojira, which was done in collaboration with Joe Duplantier, a legendary Gojira frontman and guitarist. It's amazing. I got the free trial of it, and I've just been having so much fun rocking Gojira riffs, doing like the dumb Gojira sweeps and like the whammy thing they do, and it's so fun. And I'm not a huge fan of Gojira's albums per se. Like, I don't think any of their albums are truly great. I think they have a little too much filler, not enough killer, especially like Magma, which just sucks. That album's horrible. But oh my god, just like listening to Gojira singles out of context is so fun.
That's what the music's for. It's kind of made that way.
Oh, totally. I was driving to work today, and I heard Yama's Messengers, and I had to try not to go 400 miles per hour.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just so fun. Gojira's great for that, and same thing with Meshuggah. I've never been a huge Meshuggah album guy either, but Meshuggah definitely have bangers, and their bangers go hard.
Mm-hmm.
And I was listening to some of the singles off of Nothing, which I haven't really given the time of day. It's the only Meshuggah album I haven't listened to a bunch. And I don't know, it's Meshuggah. There's a reason that there's an entire genre and movement named after them, or sort of modeled after them too. The boys know what they're doing.
They absolutely know what they're doing.
I was stuck in traffic driving through Boston earlier this week.
Boston.
I couldn't really use my phone to change the music, so I ended up listening to Bleed 4 times in a row. And honestly, I wasn't even upset. It was great.
Good.
That song
Bleed slaps, dude.
And I have a few other albums I want to talk about. The one actually new music to me that I've been listening to. Call me a pleb, but I've finally been getting into Disaster.
Okay. I don't know. That's not really plebeian. I don't know if anyone would call you plebeian for listening to Disaster. They might call you.
Disaster's pretty huge.
Well, yeah, but it's still DSBM. You gotta give yourself a little bit of credit where it's due.
I was shuffling the classic black metal playlist on Spotify, which is surprisingly good. And the song "Screaming at Forgotten Tears," which has 500,000 plays on Spotify, came on, and I was like, "Damn, I gotta listen to more Disaster." And so, lo and behold, I've been grinding his most popular album, "To Violate the Obvious," which has a 3.9 on RYM, and it's pretty amazing. Just pretty astonishing, very depressive black metal, if you will.
Yes.
Super droney, a lot of influence from Doom, just sort of taking that Dunkelheit style of atmospheric black metal, running it into the fucking ground.
Yeah, no, those guys really know how to do that well.
You mean that guy?
Well,
I know what you mean. The collective DSBM genre.
Yes. Yeah.
And as many of you, or many of the audience, and I know Adam they've probably seen the Noisy documentary One Man Metal, which features Zaster, Leviathan, and Striborg, right?
Crap. I can't remember. I think it's someone it's a one man from Tasmania.
Yeah, I forget the name. Well, anywho, and Zaster's featured there, and based off of his portrait there, he's just this absolutely sad boy, to say the least. He's a really sad boy.
Watch the documentary if you haven't. It's actually pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Like I'll never forget the moment where they're interviewing Rest, and they're in front of his house, and he just says like, in like the the most solemn tone possible, he's like, "This is the house where I tried to take my own life." And then like the interviewer's like, "Damn, dude, I'm sorry to hear that." Yeah, let's just. Now I want to make some one-man DSBM, but
no.
Zatzer's great. I'm sure I'd enjoy his whole discography if I listened to it. But To Violate the Obvious, phenomenal album. I was listening to it earlier today while walking my dog, and I just felt one with the void and winter, if you will.
At once.
At once. And I've now been talking for a while. Last album I'm going to talk about today, before Adam, you can finish up, is Melina by Leprous.
But that album, it's not even a metal album.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I threw it on while driving because I was like, oh, I need something kind of melodic, but that's, it's still pretty good. And so I threw on Melina by Leprous, and I just kind of forgotten how good this album was.
No, it's so beautiful.
It's so great.
When you look at Pitfalls, I don't know, like Melina is everything Pitfalls is lacking, and I don't know. I think that's great.
I sort of feel that. I mean, if you guys want to know our take on Pitfalls, read that review I wrote like 2 years ago now. But
yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, no, I mean, Melina has the 1-2-3 punch of Bonneville stuck in From the Flame, right? Mm-hmm. And then, my problem with this album is always like, oh, well, it's not the A-side's just so strong, but the album really just kind of goes off like the whole time.
No, the deep cuts are wicked good, dude. I love I can't remember the song. I gotta look at that. I love Leashes to death. I mean, Illuminate is kind of a banger too.
Mm-hmm. Mirage is one of my favorite Leprous songs. I even like the more subtle final cuts with like a bunch of cello focus.
Yeah.
This album is just way better than, like, I don't know. It's really good. I know we really liked this back in 2017, and I've seen Leprous live 3 times since, and each time they've played some of these songs. And, I don't know. They're really great. A lot of really subtle synth textures, a lot of subtle guitar work, and they kind of slap in a way that certain songs from Pitfalls don't.
I mean, yeah, I think that the whole thing kind of just moves like every other Leprous album, whereas I think Pitfalls feels pretty disjointed a lot of the time. I do think that if they were going to make a clean Leprous album, like, they did it with Melina.
Yeah, I gotcha. No squeaming.
No squeaming. None. 0.
But, yeah, I don't know. Leprous, good. Very, very astonishing take, I know.
Yeah, no.
And so, with that, other than that, I'm just listening to a bunch of Opeths, which we'll talk about later. So, I sauce it back to you, my friend.
Speaking of prog, I got a few more prog albums to talk about. One in particular, well, actually, kind of 2, sort of. So, Four Giants is a new group on my radar that just put out a new record called There. It is also in the instrumental prog vein, but this one fits more into the I don't want to say like the Leprous Haken contortionist vein, because it's got a little bit of influence from all the prog genres, but like it's definitely a gent album.
You said the word, not me.
I know. It's a gent album, but at the same time, I don't know, it's pretty good. They got some really cool cuts and some cool musical synchronicities that go on. I don't think I'll jam the album anymore past the month, probably, but at the same time, I don't know. They're cool. Definitely check out.
Just listen to about 3 seconds of the lead single, and it's exactly what I expected.
Yeah,
but not in a bad way.
No, it's the best. It's good. I will say it's good instrumental, gent-focused prog, which is hard to come by. So props to them.
But Bulb's solo album.
Oh, the Bulb archives. No.
What else?
Dude, when are we reviewing over the old archives?
Stop.
There's 2 records that I haven't talked. Actually, 3. Sorry. God damn it. The Thou, Emma Ruth Rendell B-Sides EP. The Helm of Sorrow.
I still have to listen to it.
You should listen to it because, I mean, it's as good as the album was, maybe a little worse. It's just, I don't know. Like,
look, they know what they're doing.
They know exactly what they're doing, and Anthony Fantano, this mix works perfectly. Fuck you. Anthony Fantano did not like, May Our Chambers Be Full.
Wait, did he review it?
It was in Why You Know review.
Oh, what did he say?
He said that the mix does not work for him.
Well, you know what? Anthony Fantano got absolutely pleb filtered. No. No, I mean, look, Fantano knows what he's talking about. I will say the mix is a little jarring if you're not used to that sort of thing, but...
Yeah. But, I don't know.
I mean, look, there's a reason why literally every music critic and their mother put this on the year-end list. Like, it's pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, it's wicked good. And
it's like 14 for us, so...
These B-sides, like, they're great. The Cranberries cover is great. All the original songs are great. Sam, you need to check this out, because, I mean, you're gonna love it.
Look, I'm gonna save it
It's 4
right
songs!
now.
It's like 12 minutes! Like, it's a very quick listen, very easy, and very good. But anyway, moving on from that, there's 2 more records that I want to talk about that are really, like... I know it's still so early in the year, but, like, these 2 albums, I have been just... Like, when I'm not listening to new music, I've just been grinding, like, these 2 records. And that's Katya Crow's I've Called Off the Search, I Know Exactly Where You Are. Which is a...
That's a great name.
It's a great name. It is an ambient album from a Middle Eastern, in particular, UAE-based female electronic artist by the name of Odie that I know nothing about. But I saw this record on the RYM chart, and I was like, drone? Ambient? Interest peaked. So, I listened to it once, and I was like, oh my god, this is like one of the best ambient albums I've ever heard. I listened to it again, and that held true. But it's also one of the strangest releases I've ever listened to, and I've never heard more of a emphasis on, like, staccatoed silences ever. Like, if you listen to the first track, like, there are, like, 10-second sections of silence. And I'm just like, this is really strange to me. Because it just has these weird, haunting key interludes while this guitar passage just drones on for the entire 3 minutes. Regardless, this project's phenomenal, and it's so diverse. It does so much with the sonic templates that it sets out to. And it's only an hour long, so, like, it's not that back-ended, and I think the longest track is, like, 13 minutes, but that's only, like, one. There might be another 9-minute track. So it's really digestible, and it's absolutely, like, an ethereal vibe. I love this album, and I want this to be the first review at PMMetalGuide for the year, come when that comes. So, look out for Katya Crow. I know exactly where you... I've called off the search, I know exactly where you are. Review.
SMH, not even putting Claire's new record as the album of the year.
But the other album that I've been grinding a lot, and this I've been grinding a lot because I don't know, like, you can only grind an ambient album so much before you're like, okay, I'm good. But the new Archeator, I don't know how it's said, but it's a one-man project from Indianapolis, and this also has a little bit of everything. It's got some noise rock, it's got some post-rock, it's got some post-metal, it's got some black metal, it's got some, I don't know. This album has a very strange quality of not only one of the strangest production styles I've ever heard, but also just a way at approaching the record with, like, it's sort of like the Greg Puciato album from last year, where there's just so many different things in this one, like, 8-song package or whatever. Like, you know, one song is, like, Astronoid Worship, which is a weird thing to say, but it's true. And then another song is, like, a black metal track with, like, some sludge riffs. This is also completely instrumental. But it's not like any of the prog releases we've talked about today. Like, it is like an indie rock / noise rock / It's so strange. Give Iterations a shot. I really, really, really love it. But I don't think it's for everyone. I think it's a very...
you just described the entire genre we're talking about.
Well, I think it's a very unique release in the fact... in those facts. But, beside the point, we're here to talk about Opeth.
Not the Opeth.
Well, Sam, what's your history with Opeth?
Well, who are Opeth first?
Great question.
Who is this Peth of O you speak of? Is he a dude? Is he an NB individual?
Who knows? Luckily, the internet is there to save us. Well, I guess I can put my filtered, like, prompted review segment here. Opeth is a 5-piece progressive death metal and progressive rock band from Sweden, who have been around for,
like 30 years.
30
right?
years.
That's
That's a long, long time. Like we said, they have 14 studio albums.
13 if you count Damnation and Deliverance as one, which a lot of people do.
We will be not, for the sake of this podcast, though. We will be doing 2 separate reviewing days for that. But I don't know. Their sound is also very, very unique and obviously has gone on to influence
every band you've ever goddamn heard. Yeah,
every prog band you've literally ever met.
Yeah, I mean, Opeth are really interesting because, like, they're one of the biggest metal bands in the world, especially in Europe. Like, I don't think we really understand just how big they are, as Americans with pretty narrow, like, worldviews. But, like, I don't know, I've read a fair amount or watched a fair amount of Mikael Åkerfeldt, who, for those who don't know, are Opeth's is Opeth's like mastermind. Who's been the vocalist and rhythm / lead guitarist for their entire career and primary songwriter. I've listened and watched a lot of Mikael, if you will, interviews, and like I was like, if you watch his noisy what's it called? What's in My Bag? He's like, oh yeah, I was eating dinner with ABBA or whatever. So like they're definitely like European music royalty at this point. And if you look at like the list of producers they've worked with on their past 3 records, it's like insane. Like they recorded Incauda Venenum with at Abbey Roads with like an absolutely legendary like European producer. And I don't know, Opeth are gigantic. Basically every metalhead ever knows who they are and's probably heard a few of their songs. And especially if you're a prog head, I feel like most people that got into metal in the mid or even early 2000s got into it through like Opeth or Mastodon, and it shows. Right.
Ooh, that's interesting. Ooh, sorry.
No, and that's totally true.
That's you bringing up Mastodon is really intriguing because I don't know. It's just like I never really pinned that as like why groove metal is a thing, but like. Mastodon's kind of why groove metal is a thing, but that's.
What do you mean groove metal?
Well, they have very adjacent. They have limbs everywhere, right? And I mean, like the style that Mastodon plays is like a distinctly groovier, thrashier set of It's a groovy. It's a
All right,
groovy thrasher.
we're gonna kill this topic. Anywho, one of the things that makes Opeth really interesting is they sort of have 3 distinct periods, and each of the periods sort of appeal to different metalheads. Their middle period, which I think me and Adam and most people like the best, is sort of where they had like a perfect blend of progressive metal and death metal. Their earlier period, which is like their first 3.5 albums, is basically straight up Swedish melodeath with a focus on like drawing from other musical influences, whether that be black metal, whether that be folk metal, whether that be prog. And then their later period, starting with Heritage, 2008 onwards, which is what we're in right now, they just play straight up throwback prog rock, and a lot of people really dislike that. I think we'll get to that, but I think there's you gotta take some things into consideration when looking at Opeth's latter catalog. But at the end of the day, they're an amazing band with a really solid discography, something for everyone, and basically every modern band that we talk about on the show was probably influenced by Opeth.
Oh yeah, certainly. And I mean, I do think that the reason that Opeth, you're right, did have such a draw then and now is obviously because of their ability, their ability to be versatile and just kind of check every box that would intrigue someone. I mean, like, for us, it was definitely the mix, because, you know, I think I'm going to try to remember back to when I first heard Blackwater Park. It was a long time ago, but a long time ago, meaning a few years, but I don't know. I love the heavy stuff, but I also love the prog stuff. And I mean, I can show new Opeth to basically anyone under the sun, and they'll be like, "Oh, that was cool."
That's cool. Yeah, and I mean, look, at the end of the day, like, one of the reasons why Opeth are so enduring is, like, Michael, we're just going to call him Michael for the purposes of this. Like, Mr. Ackerfeld knows what he's doing. Like, he's a phenomenal songwriter, and he has a really unique sense of melody. Like, there's such thing as an Acker riff, and you know it when you hear it. And there's such thing as, like, an Acker melody, and you know it when you hear it. That sort of permeates their whole work. And he has a really keen ear for songwriting, and he never lets, like, sort of the masturbatory tendencies of the genre get in its way. Like, I think that's one of the reasons why, you know, Opeth are so renowned in their discography, where a band like Dream Theater isn't. Because, sure, everyone in Opeth's a virtuoso, and they can shred their asses off, and all their songs are like 10 minutes plus. But at the end of the day, they know how to write a good song. They know how to incorporate melodic through lines and make the whole thing very engaging throughout.
Yeah, they don't need to length. They're just... they write... I don't know, they write prog-induced, or death metal-infused prog. And I don't know of anyone else that I think can say that to the extent that Opeth can. Because they really... It is really just like death metal prog. But while...
for their mid-period, at least.
Well, yeah, but even so... even in their earlier period, when it was definitely more hinging on the melodic death metal side, there was still a distinct difference, I guess, whereas bands nowadays tend to, I don't know, they try to mix them up and play with it a lot, which obviously is the point of the genre. But Opeth's sincerity and, I guess, the way they lay out their songwriting is just beautiful, and they're able to perfectly transition between all of their sections, no matter what era it is.
I agree.
They're stunning. I mean, obviously, you said it. They're stunning songwriters, and have continued to permeate and do that for 30 years.
Yeah, another thing that's really interesting about, like, Opeth is they've never really had a consistent lineup. Like, the band's changed hands quite a few times, with Michael being the only sole member, and that's not to diminish the contributions of some of their other really notable members, but, I mean, it's really just been the Michael show for a while, and then with various contributors, so it lends each of their albums a really distinct feel, and it's, I don't know, it's pretty cool. Like, I could geek on about Opeth forever. I will say, the way like I sort of got deeper into them is kind of weird, because I feel like most people when they're like 14, 15, they heard like Still Life or Blackwater Park or Ghost Reveries, because those are like generally the three big gateway albums, and then just got super into Opeth after that. But for me, I think I ordered Blackwater Park on Amazon when I was like fucking freshman in high school or whatever. Listened to the album like twice and was like, oh, this is cool, but it's not for me. And then it wasn't until a few years later where I was just starting to, I had heard like a few Opeth songs, like their most popular. Like I heard Ghost of Perdition, I heard Leper Affinity, and I heard Blackwater Park. And I was like, these songs are really good. I started jamming those songs some more, started learning them on guitar. And Opeth are a great band to learn on guitar for a number of reasons. And then sort of just from there, listened to all the albums because I was like, oh wow, all their songs are this good.
Whoa.
And I mean, we own, I think, every Opeth album collectively on CD.
Close to it, at the very least.
I don't think I have Heritage. For obvious reasons. But, I mean, really, they have a pretty good discography. I think most people could make a good argument for why certain Opeth albums are the best Opeth albums. And there's definitely something for everything. And they have a very high consistency of songwriting throughout their career.
I can't name a bad Opeth song. I could probably name, like, I could weigh pros and cons, but I don't know if I could personally, with my experience with the band, say that they have a bad tune.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm gonna be real. I really dislike Heritage, and I think Sorceress isn't a very good album either. But I mean, they still have their moments, and I'm sure we'll get to them later on.
We will get to them. We have to. We're in it now. Opeth is now under our control.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess, do you want to sort of get into our preconceived notions of the Peth, of their catalog, before next week where we start delving into Orchid?
I mean, I think we've started that at least a little bit.
True. But I guess where the spots in our knowledge of their discography lies.
Well, at the very least for me, I have listened to everything up to Heritage. I've also pretty ad nauseum listened to Incauda Venenum when it came out because of, now we're doing podcast/blog. So I'm like, okay, I gotta give these albums a lot more listens because it's just, it is more music that I have to listen to in general. I mean, I really like all the mid-period stuff. I love Ghost Reveries. I like Ghost Reveries before Sam liked Ghost Reveries. Make note, podcast people. I love Blackwater Park. I love Still Life. I even love
My Arms, Your Hearse.
I was gonna not say Watershed, but yes, My Arms, Your Hearse is also very high up there for me.
Yeah, I feel that. And so I guess the black spot on their discography for you is like the first two albums, and then like the post Ghost Reverie stuff. Oh wait, you haven't heard Damnation or Deliverance.
Yes, you're right. I haven't heard it. All right,
those are like
so go back. So I've heard everything before Heritage except for Damnation and Deliverance and Incauda Venenum. And I wouldn't say that the early stuff is a black spot. It's just, it's different. And for me, I don't get the highs. I guess I can call them a high. I don't get like the catharsis I do from those albums as I do the mid-period stuff.
No, very fair.
It just feels, to me it feels more, I mean, they're still getting their feet on the ground with those early works, and obviously there's less prog. And I don't listen to a ton of melodic death metal.
Understandable.
So, not exactly.
I know at least like a lot of the older metalheads really love Orchid.
Mm-hmm.
Like because I'd highly recommend looking at the Stereogum Worst to Best, the write-up they did of Opeth for Sorceress, and the way they put it in that article is that Opeth in 1995, when a lot of black metalheads were convinced with we're sort of trying to out edge each other in the wake of the the Varg Viker shit show in Norway and whatnot. Opeth just brought a very mature and measured take that blended both black and death metal and all these other elements together. And sort of, at least the way that article posits it, is like they sort of ushered in like a new age of a more serious, like less shock focused mainstream metal, which I can see.
Yeah, that's actually. I mean, that is understandable.
They came up in I believe the Gothenburg scene with like the legendary, At the Gates and a few other groups, and you can definitely hear it on those first few albums.
Mm-hmm.
But my experience with Opeth, I'd say I have a pretty good grasp on most of their discography with the albums. I haven't listened to Heritage, Sorceress, and Orchid too much. I know the rest of their discography pretty well. Like I could probably hum like a melody from all the songs. I learned the albums Deliverance, Damnation, Blackwater Park, Ghost Reveries on guitar. So I've spent quite a long time grinding Opeth tunes. I love them. They're really fun to play because they're not super complicated, but they have a lot of interesting chords, a lot of interesting melodies. Damnation's probably my personal favorite Opeth album. It's just it really ticks that perfect sad prog boy itch that few other albums do. It's sort of like Clairvoyant, honestly. I think you'll really like that album. That's high praise. No, literally. I mean, you've heard Window Pane 9 million times because
I have heard Window Pane 9 million times.
Yeah, and I love Window Pane. I love most Opeth songs. I think I'm gonna have some mildly controversial takes on Blackwater Park when we get to it, and Still Life on that hand, because I know
I can agree with some of those takes on Still Life. I think I already know what you have in mind.
Surrender to pain to death. I'm not. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of like prog heads and metal heads and our generation and the generation before sort of just really got into metal with like Still Life and Blackwater Park. So they look back on those with rose-tinted glasses. But I mean, at the same time, those albums are phenomenal, and a lot of, like I'd argue that basically the entirety of Opeth's mid-period is flawless. Like I think there's like one bad song in between like Still Life to Watershed, and that one bad song is, I don't know. We'll get to it, but I mean they have an immensely strong middle period. I think Heritage is kind of bad. I think Pale Communion's great. I think Sorceress is okay, and then I really love In Cauda Venenum. I think Cauda Venenum is a phenomenal album. I think that was my most listened to album of 2019 actually.
Was it actually? Jeez.
Yeah.
And it was only an honorable mention.
Yeah, well, I mean, you didn't like that album that much.
It's not that I didn't like it. I just liked other albums more.
There you go. I will say, I'm definitely excited to go back and give Opeth's earlier stuff a lot of love, because, I mean, I've listened to Orchid probably only like 5 or 6 times, and it's a really good record, and that's a shame. As far as Watershed goes, I really only know Black Rose Immortal super well. Whisper.
Yeah. I'm actually decently familiar with fucking
Morning Rise.
Morning Rise. Yeah, Morning Rise. That's it.
I always get, for whatever reason, I always get Morning Rise and Watershed confused, even though they're very different albums from very different times.
Yeah. I've listened to Morning Rise a few times because I own it.
Morning Rise, honestly, I think it's an underrated Peth album.
I would agree.
I don't know. I gotta go back. Thing is, Opeth has such a large discography. Like a band like Tool, I can just think in my mind. Like I know all those songs pretty down pat, and like I have pretty formulated thoughts. But for Opeth, since they have 14 goddamn albums, it's a little bit harder. And
it is absolutely harder.
Peth fan, like all the albums definitely have their own intricacies, but they're still very Opethy all the way throughout.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited to go back and kind of gain a new perspective, think a little more critically. And another great thing about Opeth is they have so much documentation about them too, so we can really prepare for these episodes by like watching videos, reading interviews, reading reviews from the time and stuff.
I mean, yeah, fortunately, that's what happens when you're a big boy band.
Yeah, they literally have a book called the Book of Opeth, which is just like 300 pages of interviews and shit. So I'm sure we can find a pirated copy of that somewhere.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Not that we wouldn't support our favorite Opeth.
No,
our favorite Swedish
Fair
boys.
Oh, they also have really good studio vlogs for most of their albums. So
even the old ones?
That should be good. No, like still life onwards, they have great studio vlogs. No joke.
Wow.
Like there's videos of like Peter and Michael just like dicking around in a shed and writing still life songs, which is pretty cool.
Yeah,
which is pretty cool. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm excited to go back and delve into one of my favorite groups because hell, I might get an Opeth tattoo at some point. I don't know.
Whoa! That's big news. That's high praise again.
No, seriously, I will say, the more I listen to Opeth, the one like continuous complaint I have, which isn't even much of a complaint, is that the lyrics are kind of dumb. like I think there are only a few great like Opeth lyrics, and a lot of them, like especially if you look at Ghost Reveries, like I'm sorry, the Baying of the Hounds is a dumb song. And so are Hours of Wealth. I think those are dumb songs lyrically, but I mean they're great, and it's not like prog or metal has to have great lyrics. So
no. I don't know. They also have very unique lyrics. I don't know if anyone has like not the variety of lyrics that Opeth has, but like I don't know. I feel like Opeth sort of doesn't have like one particular lyrical thing. And I don't know, obviously it is so unimportant, as we're thinking about it, but like I don't know, it's kind of interesting how you can have a song like Face of Melinda and then have a song like Ghost of Perdition or The Leper Affinity or whatever.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, they definitely have I will say they have a fair variety as far as lyrical subjects, but it sort of keeps this one like pastiche, which is sort of like I can't really describe it.
It's Opeth. It's just
very Opethy.
It's just Opeth.
I don't know. I'd honestly describe it as like sort of this post-romantic like fascination with like simultaneously nature and the occult and like. I don't know. I just think the novel like Wuthering Heights. Like whenever I'm listening to Opeth lyrics, I think of like the moody aspects of like early.
They do have a song called "The More."
One of my favorite Opeth songs.
I'm just saying.
I don't know. Anywho, Opeth, the great band. Let's give sort of our initial discography rankings, so we can go back, 4 months from now and shit on ourselves.
Right. Fair enough. Well, that's tough.
I mean, the best album has to be Blackwater Park. It's not even a question, right?
I think. Yeah, I think that's probably right.
Probably Blackwater Park, Ghost Reveries for me.
It probably is. It's probably similar. I think it's probably Blackwater Park, Ghost Reveries. No. I wouldn't. No.
What do you think's better?
No, I would probably just on mere like listens alone. Probably My Arms, Your Hearse, then Ghost Reveries, then Still Life, then Morning Rise, then In Caught of Venom.
And then I was like, I haven't listened to any of
and then Orchid, and then the Watershed below Orchid. I don't really like Watershed.
What do you mean? Watershed's awesome.
Well, I don't know. This is why we're going back and listening to it. It's been a long time since I've listened to a lot of these records, so it is kind of difficult for me to understand.
Have you even listened to like Pale Communion or Heritage?
No, like I said, after Watershed. Into the Wind until 2019.
all right. I guess I'll give my ranking. My personal favorite Opeth album is Damnation, like I said earlier. But if I were to rank them, with trying to attain some form of objectivity, it'd be Blackwater Park.
You could probably objectively argue for Damnation.
Well, I think Damnation has some duds.
Well, then never mind.
But Blackwater Park, followed by Ghost Reveries, followed by Deliverance. That's hot takes galore. After Deliverance, I'll probably go Damnation, which is funny because all those albums were released in like a 5-year span. Anywho, after that, honestly, this is my pleb showing, but I'll go with Incauda Venenum, then Watershed, then Pale Communion, then Morning Rise, Orchid, and at the very bottom, you got Sorceress and Heritage.
Dude, you forgot Still Life.
Oh my god, sorry. Still Life is probably after Damnation.
Yeah. Hi.
I mean, look, Still Life's a really good album. I do have some mildly hot takes there. Honestly, Watershed would probably be my favorite Opeth album if it didn't have one song on it.
What song is that?
I have to see. Now I'm showing my lack of Opeth knowledge is showing because I always have to remind myself. It's Porcelain Heart. I think Porcelain Heart's kind of boring.
Fair enough.
But I mean, I think the rest of the album's amazing. So
yeah, fair enough. I don't know. I'm excited. Opeth.
The Opethyssy.
Opethyssy.
Whereas next week, unless some crazy news story happens and we have to devote a whole podcast to it, we're gonna listen to Orchid extensively.
Woo!
And learn about how they formed, what went into making the album, what the songs are about, where it fails, where it succeeds, and where we think the next logical album is, and why they went to Morning Rise after that.
There you go.
So yeah, I don't know. Opeth.
Cool
Opeth.
Band. Good band that we will surely talk about next week.
Adam
We hope.
What?
At least I said hopefully we'll talk about it next week.
Hopefully next week. I was going to shitpost and say, like, Adam probably doesn't even know the 4 Opeth members that wrote, like, most of their golden age.
You're right!
Adam's like,
I'm
Michael,
bad. I'm bad.
Martin Lopez.
I'm bad with band members. But I will know all of them now.
Yeah. Actually, for My Arms, Your Hearse, it was Michael wrote the entire thing by himself and recorded everything but drums.
And that is why Opeth is good.
Yeah, I don't know. Opeth's cool. Remember when we could have seen them last winter before COVID, and you were like, oh, no, I don't want to. And they played the Leper Affinity to open.
I do. I do remember. If we had done this podcast series before, I would have been more excited to see this.
Seriously. And they were playing the Palladium, too. And, like, I know a lot of people don't like the...
I don't know.
Dude, the Palladium slap. I love the Palladium. I have so much fun there.
It's not a bad venue. There's
worse. You could
worse.
have cracked someone's skull to Leper Affinity. Come on.
That's true. That's true. I didn't miss
Your
out on
body
that.
is mine to avail. Such a tragic set. Anywho. News.
Dude,
how's our boy John Schaefer doing?
I think he got arrested. I could be wrong.
I think he's like being held for like another week or something.
I mean, he is in FBI. He is in the FBI's most wanted. So,
oh my god.
I don't know. Oh, I also saw Century Media dropped Ice Earth.
Yeah, I mean,
because of
fair, like that's such a goddamn bad look. Like seriously.
Oh, government lawyers have asked judges to deny John Schaefer's bail.
I mean, fair, but yikes.
Yes, yikes. Yeah, Ice Earth. Goodbye. I don't know if they'll drop another album. I think Ice Earth's turning into Trapped. What do you think?
Oh no. I mean, maybe. I don't know. Did you? Yeah, no. This article here said John Schaefer to remain in jail throughout the week, and they just postponed bail. Yeah, things aren't looking good for the Earth of the Iced.
No, and that's. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of whack because like they're huge. Ice Earth is huge.
Yeah, I know it is kind of whack. I mean, I guess moral of the story is don't join insurrections.
Literally, moral of the story, just I don't know. be an okay person.
Amen, brother.
Be like a decent human being. You don't even have to be like an outstanding one.
Yeah, fair.
Just
be a decent individual.
Yeah.
Don't do what Ice Earth did.
Don't do what Ice Earth did.
I feel like this has been a ridiculously slow week news-wise.
It has. Everyone's just commenting on the election.
You mean the inauguration?
The inauguration.
Oh, hey,
yes.
hey! Fear Factory to release new albums within 2 or 3 months.
I was gonna say there is new Fear Factory.
Oh, dude, we're gonna have to interrupt the Opethyssy to just shit on the new Fear Factory album.
Unless it's the best album of the year, which it could be.
You know, dude, what if it's like?
Who knows?
Yeah,
we don't know.
What if it's groovier than Koloss, dude?
Dude. Maybe. Hey, you know what? Maybe they've just been. I don't know. They've been building to this point in their career.
Maybe Dino wrote the next Mirror Reaper, and
I'm
just not aware of this. It's actually it's Death Consciousness Part 2 featuring Dan and Tim.
Oh, perfect.
Ugh.
Jesus.
Ugh. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I mean, I know I'm a broken record, but like it's kind of telling when you go on all the news sites and they're just like, remember that time when. Like
not
seriously,
a lot. It's mostly just album announcements and
like and rockers commenting on the inauguration.
Yeah,
which like I feel like it isn't even worth the talk about because I'm sure next week we'll have some fun stuff.
Bandcamp's starting to make vinyl.
Oh really? That's cool.
Yep, they're starting to make vinyl.
Woo!
So
nobody gives.
Woo! Nobody gives a shit.
Yeah, gosh, I
Bandcamp Fridays are continuing through May also.
Hey, that's good. Hey, support your local artists.
Yeah, and non-local artists. Any artist.
Yeah, support artists because you know what? It's damn hard to make a living doing what these people do.
Yep. Oh my god, I was going through like Metal Injection and Metal Six, but I go on Loudwire and dude, I can't even look at it, dude.
What do you mean?
It's just horrible. Like,
don't make me go on Loudwire right now.
Like Pantera's vulgar display of power played in the style of Metallica. Trump supporters are using Green Day's American Idiot on TikTok. Ooh. Singing Parrot tackles Guns N' Roses, Van Halen, and more rock songs.
Machine Gun Kelly has had 2 UFO encounters.
Hey, you know what? I don't know. This is kind of a weird topic of conversation, but like, well, aliens are definitely real, but as more and more, they are. You can't even tell me that there is not another conscious organism in this universe.
in the universe, totally, but like, probably not right next to us abducting people.
All right, well, why not? I don't know about abducting people, but like, I don't know. Like, think about it. The next galaxy. Who knows? There could be.
We are not having our alien cast right now, Mr. Tom DeLonge.
Damn. Well, that's all right. But you know what? If Machine Gun Kelly got probed by aliens, then I'm sorry.
Dude, he sold his soul to the alien so he could become successful.
No, that's how he became a punk rocker, dude.
Holy shit.
Also, dude, I listened to that album because I heard one song from it on TikTok.
Tickets to My Downfall?
Yes.
It's really bad.
Oh my god. Like,
it is like the most manufactured like attempt at 2000s mallcore ever.
It is shocking how like it just feels so out of touch.
Well, actually, I'd argue that it doesn't feel out of touch because it's dumbing down like everything that made like that mid-2000s pop punk scene feel so alive and fresh to market it to the 2020 TikTok audience, and it definitely worked. Like to an absurd extent.
It horribly worked. It's really jarring to see.
Yeah.
Especially since like, I don't know, like I grew up with Green Day. And even like a little Weezer. And, like, I know Weezer is not pop punk and any part of that metalcore scene, but, like, for me, like, listening to, like, I don't know, even listening to New Green Day is sort of the same thing. Like, it's just that,
well, there's
that,
none of that youthful
that part
energy,
of life, yeah, it's gone.
or the songwriting spark that, like, made pop punk so interesting back in the day. Or that allowed so many bands to, like, make it huge. Or, like, you're gonna...
Yeah.
I should, like... So, don't hate me. But I learned Riot by Paramore on guitar earlier this week.
Dude! Okay, not even. The Paramore songs, like...
Well, no, okay, look.
Long
What makes
story
pop
short,
punk so interesting is it's a combination of really sharp songwriting chops and, like, youthful energy and channeling it into, like, the most perfect distillation of, like, earworm choruses and, like, slight youthful angst ever. And the fact that, like, it hit such a large audience when it did is pretty amazing.
Yes. And also, Riot's a great album.
Oh,
Don't
yeah.
let anyone tell you otherwise. At you, Rate Your Music. You know, Rate Your Music has Riot as the worst Paramore album.
Wait, what? I was literally just going to check this.
Their newest one, their 2017 one, is supposedly their best.
That makes sense. I mean,
I've heard it is, but I'm not sure.
Well, also, you gotta understand, everyone on Rate Your Music was, like, in high school when Paramore were huge, so they hate it. They hate that Riot. They hate that Riot was so big.
That is a good point.
Yeah, I totally see it.
Yeah.
Just feel
like,
so...
Listening to some of those tracks, I was like, oh man. These...
oh gosh.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Oh jeez.
Oh jeez.
Now, one of my coworkers is, like, always like, oh yeah, it's just the best album of all time.
I don't know if I'd go that far, but it's pretty freaking good.
Gotta just feel so...
If anything, it has some of the bangerino-est pop-punk tracks of the early 2000s.
Yeah,
that have stuck.
I didn't know this, but Josh from Paramore, who's their lead guitarist, actually played a Telly Thin Line, which is not a very, like, heavy guitar, so that's cool.
I mean, those songs are pretty bright.
Yeah, I mean, they're pretty bright, but they still have, like, a shit ton of distortion.
Yeah, true. True.
Like, I'm like 95% sure they're using, like, Marshall JCM 2000s, which is, to give you some context, is, like, what Inter Armour uses.
Okay. Jesus.
Yeah, no, like, those, dude, and if you watch, like, live vids of them back in the day, there is so much goddamn gain. But
I'm sure they get loud live.
I'm sure. Anywho, MJK's album sucks. We should do a formal podcast about it sometime soon.
Yeah. Well, that's not sometime soon because we have a prior commitment.
Yeah, we got like 8 million albums to talk about. Yeah. Oh, did you listen to the new Sanguisugabog single?
I don't even know who Sanguisugabog is.
What do you mean?
I know you have the Sanguisugabog shirt, and that is all. I've never listened to Sanguisugabog.
I'll send you the new song. It's called Menstrual Envy.
Sounds like a brutal death metal name. Or just a normal death metal name. Either one.
Sanguisugabog are like an OSDM. Like, they call themselves Porno Death. It's basically like a poppier version of like what we'd call Cavern Death. And they blew up in like 2019 because they had this really sick... They had like a 4-song EP with really sick album art.
I've literally never heard of them other than from you.
Literally Google them. They're huge.
Dude,
their biggest song on Spotify has 200,000 plays. And they sound nuts. Like a Cavern Death band, like slightly poppier.
I hope I spelled that right. I did not.
No, like every hardcore kid or every person I know that's even like kind of into like modern, like hard or modern extreme metal knows Sanguisugabog. Like everyone loves them.
I will have to listen to the EP.
It's pretty fun. I like it. I mean, I have a Sanguisugabog shirt, so
debut album coming out in March.
I know, I'll probably be sick. Anywho, yeah, no, they dropped a new single. Body's dropping an album next week that I'm so excited for.
That album it's number 1 on RYM right now.
I know.
Granted,
I mean,
that's not
R.Y.M.
the best.
has never lied, so...
That isn't the best indication, but you know what? Eamvald was also at #1 for a very long time.
I feel like there's very few metal releases coming out this week.
Let me take a look at my big ol' list of fun. There's a new Asphyx album coming out, and that's the big one.
Yep. New Asphyx, new Nervosa, new Grave Gnosis.
Yep, Nervosa, EP. There's a bunch of other underground releases. Yeah. Obviously.
Is there actually? I'm pretty sure like a big indie album's coming out next week.
Hey,
did I?
No, you go first.
Oh yeah, didn't Viagra Boys come out and we just totally missed that?
Yes, Viagra Boys came out and Shame came out. I was gonna ask if you'd listened to Shame yet.
I just added it to listen to it later.
I listened to it this morning.
Is it good?
It's post-punk.
Like how post-punk? Because I really like...
Because,
I don't know.
Like some of the songs are like Daughters and the others are like Idols.
Well, I was going to ask. Like, I really like the Proto-Motor album and the Fontaine's DC album from last year. So did you ever listen to either of those?
No.
They were like the biggest post-punk releases. And I
knew what they were, and I should listen to them at some point, but
they're pretty good, especially the Proto-Motor album. You definitely like it. Oh yeah, oh no, Pine Grove's not it for a little bit. Wow, I guess I'm just a normie.
Damn, saying this is good luck on Century Media. Christ.
Wait,
what good popularity will do to
no, dude, right? Exactly. You're like they're huge. I'm telling you that. Like, actually, I had a convo with one of my friends about this, but they blew up because of great marketing and great artwork.
Yeah. That's all you need.
No, dude, it's something that all underground metal bands can learn from. Because, like, if you listen to their stuff, you'll be astounded how popular they are. Even a band like Tomb Mold or, like, Blood Incantation, like, their popularity makes sense because they make such, like, hooky songs. But Sing a Sugabog is literally just like... for, like, classic. 3 minutes each. Yeah. And somehow they're giant.
Sometimes it just do be like that.
All right. Well, I mean, do you have any final albums or final news stories you want to talk about? This is the shortest cast we've done in a while.
It is. I don't think so. I mean, we're kind of barren on news. I could talk about other new music that I've been jamming, but other than that, I really don't have much.
Let me just check. Let me just check one last time.
There are two things that I guess are of note. I listened to the Gatecreeper EP. I
did too. I enjoyed it.
I thought it was pretty good. I don't think it was spectacular. Also, Naja just released a split, a 2-song split.
Naja?
The other drone doom group other than Jezu and Sun O. The third big one.
Dude, I still can't get over how bad that Jezu album is. I'm sorry.
Well, I'll tell you what. The Naja and Disrotted split is much better. Although I will say I did prefer the side of the group Disrotted, which I've never heard of, and they're not on Metalum. So,
fair enough. Let me just check Metal Storm to see if there's anything we've missed.
Yeah.
Dude, how did we miss that Cleric release?
Well, I don't know. It's not on any platform.
Like, what do you... is it like a cassette?
It's not on Spotify. It's not on YouTube. It's not on...
was it like a live album?
Bandcamp? I mean, it must be, because there's no other way to find it. I've looked it up, and I think that you can... I think you can see it on YouTube, but I don't think it's in one piece. I think that there are multiple pieces.
That's so weird.
Of it.
All right, well...
Maybe?
Other than that, I got...
But that's beside the point.
All right, so I have been Sam.
I'm Adam.
And next week, we're going to be talking about Orchid by Opeth, part 2 of the Opethyssy. Get ready, be there or be square.